let's go over this warm-up, and we're going to talk about solving the system using elimination. All right, so if we have these two equations, right? All right, so let's see here. We have x squared, we have y squared, we have y squared, we have x. Okay, so what I want to do, since I have x squared, I have y squared, I have another y squared, and I have an x, right? The thing is, you have all these variables here. You need to eliminate one of them so that you can solve. Well, I would eliminate the y squareds because your x and x squareds could give you a trinomial, maybe, or maybe some kind of factoring situation where you could solve for that x. Does that make sense? So the y squares are the ones you want to get rid of. All right. So right now, you know what? They're not lined up. I don't really like this, so I'm going to just rewrite it so that they're lined up. Yeah? And the second one, I'm going to put the x squared. Okay, there's no x squared. There's an x. 2x minus 4y squared plus 4 equals 0. Yeah? So I try to line everything up, but I have an x squared, I have an x. That's fine. Basically, I just wanted to line up the ones that I want to eliminate. I want to get rid of y squared. Okay. So here's my y squared term, and here's my y squared term. Remember, the goal of elimination is that you want them to have the same number, but different signs. So here's a positive 4, here's a negative 4. This is good to go, right? I don't have to multiply it by anything, and this is good. Okay, so that means I'm going to add everything together, right? X squared plus 2x, they're not like terms, I can't combine them. This just turns into x squared plus 2x, right? Okay. And then 4y squared plus a negative 4y squared, well, no, that's eliminated, right? And then negative 4 plus 4 gives me what?
0.
0. So well, then that goes away. And then equals, well, 0, right? 0 plus 0 is 0, right? So then now look at this. X squared plus 2x equals 0. Well, then I can factor this. I don't have 3, so this is not an AM trinomial situation. But what is the first step in factoring? GCF. So you can take an x out of there, right? If you divide everybody by x, then you get x plus 2 equals 0. Yes? And now how do you solve by factoring? You need to make everybody equal to 0. So x equals 0, which that one's done. X plus 2 equals 0, so x equals negative 2, right? Okay. So now I have x equals 0, and I have x equals negative 2. But, guys, remember your answers are actually intersecting points, right? Like points of intersection. So I need x comma y. So over here, I'm going to make a little answer box so that I can keep everything organized. I have 0, I have negative 2. I need to find the matching y's, like the corresponding y's to these x's. Does that make sense? So in order to do that, I need to take each of these x's, I need to plug it into one of these equations and solve for the y. Yeah? All right. So let's see, does x equal 0? I mean, this one should be a good one, right? Which one do you want to plug it into? First one or the second one?
First one.
First one? Okay, let's plug it into the first one. So when x equals 0, 0 squared plus 4y squared minus 4 equals 0. Yeah? What's 0 squared? 0. Now you have 4y squared minus 4 equals 0.
Plus 4.
Okay. Plus the 4. This looks like a square root method, right?
Divide by 4.
4y squared equals 4. Divide by 4. Now you have y squared equals 1. So what is y?
Root 1.
What happens when you draw the square root? Plus or minus. So then this is y equals plus or minus. What's the square root of 1?
Root 1.
No. Square root of 1. No, it's just 1. 1. There we go. Right? So square root of 1. Okay, so y equals plus or minus 1. Oh, you know what that tells me? My goodness, look at this. So I have a 1 here, and then look, for 0, I also have a negative 1. I spoke too soon. I set up my answer box. Do you see what I just did? When I plugged in a 0 for my x, I got 2 y's. That means that at 0, I have a negative 1, I have a positive 1. Okay? All right. So I have a feeling that's going to happen again for x equals negative 2, right? So I'm going to just shrink this down a little bit. Okay. All right, so when x equals negative 2, okay, should we plug it back into the first one again? Doesn't matter which one we plug it into. So negative 2 squared plus 4y squared minus 4 equals 0. Yes? What is negative 2 squared?
4.
4. 4 plus 4y squared minus 4 equals 0. What's 4 minus 4? 0. So now you have 4y squared equals 0. Now what?
Divide by 4.
Yeah. Divide by 4. What's 0 divided by 4?
0.
Y squared equals 0. Wait a minute. So y squared equals 0. Square root plus or minus. But do we really have a plus or minus 0? No. So y equals 0 here. Okay? Any questions? Yeah? All right. So the other one says solve using substitution, but you know what? We actually didn't. I didn't show you that one. I didn't realize that one was there. So you want to check the homework?
No.
All right. All right. So guys, on the top of your homework or somewhere, maybe your assignment sheet or something, okay? Can we write this down so that we remember? All right. If you have no exponents in the equation, okay? All right. So like that one, x minus y equals 1. All right. Then this is a line. It's going to look like a line. Okay. If you have one exponent, this is a parabola. All right. So it's going to be a U or the flipped U, well, mountain, right? If you have 2 exponents, then it's a circle. Okay? For all these problems that you're going to get with these systems for now, no exponents means it's a line. 1 means it's a parabola, and 2 is a circle. So that at least you know if you're graphing it correctly, all right, and what it is that you're graphing. All right. So you guys said you're okay with number 1? Yule? Number 1? No? You want to go over this one? So, so number 1, okay, so it says solve the following system by graphing and then algebraically using substitution. Okay. Are you okay with it, with graphing it? All right, so you just need to know the algebraic. Which method did you use? Or did you try to use? Did you use substitution or elimination? Substitution. Okay, I'm gonna do that then. Elimination. Oh yeah, no, you can. No, I wouldn't do elimination. Yeah, you're right. No, you would have to use substitution. Okay, so then with this one, all right. I wouldn't want to change the first equation to make it equal to x or y because they have square roots and then you have to do plus or minus with the square. No, right? So look at the second one. X minus y equals 1. Well, then I would just add the y and then make it x equals y plus 1. You know what I mean? Then you don't have any negative coefficients and you're good to go, okay? When you're using substitution, you want to make one of them equal to just a variable. So now y plus 1 is equal to x, okay? Then you want to take this and plug it in to the other equation, okay? So since all of this is equal to x, plug it into the x in the other equation. Remember, you can't plug it into itself. All right, so then this becomes x, which is y plus 1 squared, plus y squared equals 25. Yeah? So here, don't make this mistake. Don't do this. You can't distribute that exponent. That's not okay. What this really means is y plus 1 times y plus 1. And then plus y squared equals 25. Okay? Now, if you double distribute this, right, then you get y squared plus 2y plus 1, and then plus y squared equals 25. All right? And this is a really long, involved problem. So then now we have to combine like terms. Y squared plus y squared. 2y squared plus 2y plus 1 equals 25. Now, what is this starting to look like? AM, trinomial, right? But in order to trinomial or AM factor, you need to make this equal to 0. Good. So subtract that 25. And then we have 2y squared plus 2y minus 24 equals 0. Okay? So what actually looked like a crazy problem is, oh look, there's a GCF, right? You take the 2 out of there. Yeah? Yeah? Okay, why did I mess up?
No.
Okay. All right. And then inside, you need to break down this trinomial, factor it out. Two numbers that multiply to negative 12 and adds to give you a positive 1, 4, and negative 3, right? So now you have 2 and then y plus 4, y minus 3 equals 0. Okay? Aman and Jaden, we are doing number 1 on homework E. Okay? And then, what do I need to do when I'm solving? Well, everybody gets set equal to 0. 2 equals 0 is no. Throw that out, right? And then y plus 4 equal to 0. Well, then y equals negative 4. Okay? And this would be y equals 3. Yeah? All that work just to get just the y's. Yeah? And then, so negative 4 and 3. So I'm going to make a little answers box over here. Remember, you just found the y's. Negative 4 and positive 3. You need to find their corresponding x's. So what are you going to do with those y's? Plug it in. You can plug it into this original x minus y equals 1 and solve it for x. Or since I solved for x already up here, and I know I did it right, I can plug it in into these. So I'm going to plug x equals y plus 1. I'm going to plug in -4. So x equals -4 plus 1. X equals what? -3. So for -4, my x number is -3. X equals, I'm going to plug in 3. 3 plus 1. So x equals 4. Yeah? So that's how you get this. Okay? Remember, you guys are expected to know how to factor, solve by factoring. So this will come up. Okay? All right. Let's look at some more then. So Dylan, comments, thoughts? Or was it good? Okay. All right, so number 2 and 3, there's the graph, and then I'll scroll down so you can see the answers. All right. There's number 3. Listen, if you have any questions, ask, because I'm sure there's somebody else thinking the same thing. For number 3, sure. Where's my? All right. Okay, so with this one, well, you can decide which method you want to use. I think they use substitution, right? Because you can see they're both equal to y, so they took this x squared that's equal to y and they plugged it in there, right? You could do that. Or I see that there is a positive x squared and a negative x squared. You could use elimination. Which method would you like? Substitution? Okay. So since they're both equal to y, that means that they're also equal to each other, right? You can take this x squared and plug it into the other y. So now you have x squared equals negative x squared plus 2. You're trying to solve for the x, so add x2, or x squared. 2x squared equals 2, right? Divide by 2. A lot of 2's. X squared equals 1. Now what? What? And what happens when you draw the square root? Plus or minus. So now you have x equals plus or minus, what's the square root of 1? 1. All right, so there are your x's right there. So my little answer box. Yeah, -1 and +1. And so now you're going to take that and you're going to plug it back in and then solve for the y. So I would plug it into this one. Yeah. Y equals x squared. Well, your x is going to be -1 squared, which is what? What's -1 squared? 1. And then the same thing for 1. Y equals 1 squared, which is 1. There you go. That's it. All right? So on the back, I feel like you guys had a couple of, you had a lot of trouble with the back, 5 and 7. Like 5 and 7 were, blank. Saw a lot of blanks. You guys want to go over 5 or 7? Both? 5? Okay, let's do 5. It says solve using elimination or substitution. What is happening? Okay, why did this freeze? Yeah, and then it just froze. That's nice. Okay, good. There we go. That's what I get for trying to be. Okay, there we go. So I would just substitute, okay? It's already set equal to y. This one set equal to y, so plug it in. X plus 3 equals x squared minus 2x minus 1. You know, did you guys skip this because you didn't realize there was a problem like number 1? Minus the x, minus the 3. Because this was like a trinomial, so you have to make it equal to 0. X squared minus 3x minus 4. Isn't that factoring? You can solve by factoring AM. Two numbers that multiply to give you negative 4 adds to give you negative 3. Negative 4 and 1. Since this is just a plain old x squared, you can do x minus 4, x plus 1 equals 0. So what are your x's here, guys? Yeah, x equals 4 and x equals negative 1. Well then, 4, negative 1. And you know what? Let's find our y's. Which one are you going to plug it into? Absolutely plug it into the second one. So if you have 4 plus 3, what is your y?
7.
7. And what about negative 1 plus 3? 2. 2. So this is actually a lot easier than number 1, right? Yeah. All right. So it is time for lunch. When you come back, if you want to go over a little bit more, we can. Our lesson is short, but we do have a lesson. And then we have a review. Enjoy your lunch. All right, so today's lesson, a very short lesson, okay, is on line or equations of best fit. So up at the top, we're going to identify the type of correlation that we see here, okay? This one looks like this, right? This is a parabola, all right? This is a quadratic. All right? This is a quadratic. Now the next one, yeah. This is a linear because the correlation looks like a line, right? All right. Here's some calculator steps, and okay, so we're going to do this together. Turn on your diagnostics. So you're going to go to second 0. See how in this like lime green color you see your A, B, C, like the alphabets, right? Letters. So go to D, which is this one. X to the negative 1. That button. And then it starts with all of the functions that start with D. Keep going down until you find diagnostic on. Uh-oh, too much. On. We want to turn it on. So for diagnostic on, hit enter. And then hit enter again until you see the word done. Okay? All right. All right, so that's one of the things that you have to do when you get your calculators. You know, especially on the SOLs, when you guys get your calculators, please make sure that you turn the diagnostics on and that you go to mode A plus B on. All right. So here's some, these are the directions for putting in your data, graphing it, getting the equation, so on. But instead of going over those, we're going to actually start doing the problems, and then you'll be able to see it a little bit better. Cool. All right, so figuring out how good line the best fit is. All right, so because this is what you're basically doing. You're taking data and you're finding out if it's a quadratic or if it's a linear and getting the equation. So what you want to do is you want to look at the r, or the r squared, on your calculator screen. Okay? Either way, it's the last line. So maybe in parentheses we should write that. This is the last line. Okay? What you want is one that is closer to -1 or 1, because that is the end goal. All right, -1 or 1. So you want the one that's higher, okay? Or I guess closer to that. All right. So here's what we do. Okay, so I can give you data, and you're going to find the equation. All right. So right now, the only two that we're going to be using. So if you go back here, we can say we're using quad reg. Okay, quad reg and lin reg. So these are the only two that we're using right now. Quad reg and lin reg. All right. Okay. Huh? It's just quad reg and lin reg. Okay. Okay. So if I give you x and y, you're going to put it into the calculator. Okay. X is going to be L1, and y is going into your L2. These are your lists. Okay, so this is how we put it into the calculator. All right, so your diagnostic is on, it's done, we're good. All right, so now go to stat. Hit enter for edit.
Where is that again?
Stat.
Oh, there we go. Edit.
Stat. Edit. Okay. Do you have numbers already in there? Make sure you have L1 and L2. Okay. What you want to do is you want to go all the way up to L1 or L2, hit clear, and hit enter. That'll delete everything in that list. Don't hit delete though. Hit clear, enter.
I remember this.
Good. So now go up to L1, clear, enter. Okay? All right, so stat, enter. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to put in all of the data points for X into your L1. So make sure that you plug everything in correctly, okay? And then everything for your Y's, all your Y points for L2. At the end, you should have the same number of L1 data points as you do your L2 data points, okay? Make sure that they're even, or else you're going to get errors. All right, so if you look at your problem, it says last line for linear, last line for quadratic. Okay, they're saying linear, we're going to do lin reg. Quadratic, we're going to do quad reg. Okay, so this is how we do that one. Go back to stat after you finish putting in all your data. Now, tab over to calc. Yeah? You see lin reg 4? Go to that one. All right, lin reg. All right, just keep hitting enter until you get to calculate if your screen looks like mine. Okay? There we go. So what is the last line?
Negative 0.99.
Negative 0.9967. What? Yeah. Negative 0.9967. And 678, but we'll stop at 7. So 8. All right, so that was the last line for my lin reg. Now let's do the same thing for our quad reg. So you just have to go back in the stat, go over to calc, and then go to quad reg, which is the 5th one. Okay, and the last line for this is 0.99416, I should say 0.9942. I change this to 8 then. I'll round it. Alright. Okay, so look at those two numbers. Which one is closer to 1 or negative 1? Lin reg. Good. So then it's linear. That's the one that you want to go with. And then you want the equation. Unfortunately, my calculator still has the quad reg equation up, so I have to just go back and get my lin reg. Stat, calc, lin reg. All right. So here's how I read this. If you look, that top line always tells you the standard form. So y equals ax plus b. The y and the x always stay the same, but they give you a, b, c, d, and so on, okay? So they give you a, you're just going to plug it in. They give you b, then you're going to plug it in, and there's your equation. So your equation is y equals, what is a? Negative 0.9, we'll say 99, x plus b, so plus 6.03. We're going to round it to 2 decimal places. All right? That's it. That's all you're doing. Okay? So if we go to the next one, so they may actually take it a little bit further and ask you something like, use your equation to predict what the y value will be when x equals 100. Well, that means after you find your equation, you're going to plug in 100 and get the y. That's it. Okay? So let's try this one. Your x's, that's your L1, y, L2. Okay? So let's try this one too. Everyone should be doing this.
How do you clear these calculators
So
again?
you go all the way up to L, whichever list you want, and then hit clear, enter. And that clears out everything. Okay, so when you get down to the end of your list, just make sure that you have the same number in L1 as you do in L2. Are you not doing this? So go in the stat and go to calc, and try lin reg and quad reg.
Wait, I'm not ready yet.
All right, just take your time.
Are we doing lin reg first?
It doesn't matter. I usually do the lim reg first, just to have it.
I got a different number set.
You got different numbers.
And I just checked my tables. That's correct.
Oh.
It won't. Okay, cool.
No, my numbers are right.
Hey.
So that's done. All right. So I put in all my data points, and I did my lim reg and my quad reg, right? So what I would do, guys, is write lin and then put the last number. Okay? So lim reg is 0.7904. So then quad is 0.9619, right? So then which one should you use?
I don't know what I did wrong. My numbers aren't matching up.
Okay. So, okay, so you want to use quad reg, okay? Yeah. Because it has to be whichever one is closer to 1 or to -1. And 0.79, no, 0.96 is closer. So y equals, you have ax squared plus bx plus c, so you're going to plug in a, b, and c. So your a point -0.007008. We'll just have to round that to 3 places because you can't do 0.0. X squared plus 0.715x now, right? Plus 13.922. Okay. We'll just round to 3 here. Sorry.
No, clear.
Okay.
What do you charge for all this?
I put an extra 45.
You did?
Yeah.
Just go in and delete that one.
I can't, it won't go out though.
All right, so now in the second part it says use your equation to predict what the y value will be when x equals 100. So you're just plugging in 100. Okay, so I would suggest that you write down your whole entire equation, maybe plug that in for x, and then you can type the whole thing out. Yeah. Can you do it without writing the equation? You know what though? We do need to see your work. So on the test, please write down the equation. Yeah. What? Okay, well let me wait. So if you want to use the store function, you can say 100, store it for x. Okay? Huh? So you don't have to use this way, but I wanted to show you because this could be convenient if you have really long equations. So you're telling the calculator, okay, 100, store, it's right above the on button, store it for x. So anytime you type in x now on this screen, it's going to know that it's 100, okay? So then your equation is -0.008 x squared, what's the next part, plus plus 13.922. Okay. Then hit enter. Is this what you have? All right, good. So that's another way. You could use the store function and it'll plug in 100. That way, if you mess up your parentheses or something, then, you know, yeah.
So after you do this for x, if you do y equals x squared.
That doesn't affect it. Yeah, and if even though you store 100 for x here, when you go into y equals and you put an x, it doesn't. They're different. This is still just x when you graph it. X is 100 only on this screen. Okay? All right. So let's try the next one. All right, so word problem. Suppose you're standing on the observation deck of the Sears Tower. You drop a penny and you watch it fall. All right. So time, seconds. Okay, so this is L1, right? And then distance, this is L2. So they're saying, where is the penny located after falling for 10.5 seconds? You know you're going to have to plug in something, right? Your time is x. Distance is y. Okay? And time is almost always x. All right, so let's plug this in. Let's see if it's lin reg or quad reg. Please make sure that you guys know all these calculator steps, okay? We can't help you on the test. Okay, so this problem, when you go and you do your two regs, right? So your lin reg, you got negative 0.9599, yes?
Yeah.
But for quad reg, what did you get?
1.
1. You should have 1, right? So this is the best. It is. I mean, but this is the best because your regression is 1, all right? And so this one, quadratic. What is the equation? Y equals negative 16 x squared. Do we have a b?
Nope, it's just x.
No, it's just 0 times x, which is 0. Okay? And then c, which is 1,821. There you go. So that is your equation. Okay? I mean, you could put 0x, but that doesn't. Whatever you multiply with 0 is going to be 0. Okay? So you want to find where the penny is located after 10.5 seconds. This is your x. So x equals 10.5. So you could plug that in, or you could use the store function. All right? So 10.5, store it for x. And then I have, what was it, negative 16? Negative 16x squared plus, yeah? So it should be 57, what is it, b? Yeah. $57 feet at 10.5 seconds. Okay? And with these word problems, please make sure that you're putting down the units. All right, any questions about this? So the last one is important because you will see problems like this. I mean, you know what? I think they actually have problems like this on the SATs too. The table below shows the price of first-class postal stamps. Okay. They tell you, let x equals 0 represent the year 1981. And usually on these type of problems, guys, where they give you the year, don't put that into your L1, okay? They'll usually say you know, like the first or the starting year will be 0 or it'll be 1. Okay? So here they tell you that 1981 is 0. Well then, what is 1991? How many years after, so what is this? What's 91 minus 81? 10. So then this is 10. Does that make sense? Then what is 1995 minus 1981? How many years after? Huh?
4.
No, it's not 4. What's 95 minus 81?
81.
Back from the beginning. It's 14. And what about 99 minus 81, right? It's saying how many
18.
years from 81, which was your 0. Does that make sense? So then this is what?
Are those numbers I'm going to put in?
Huh?
Are those numbers
Yes.
that we put
And
in?
these are going to be the numbers that you put into L1. Does that make sense? If they give you the year like this, don't put in the year, because most likely they'll tell you the beginning one is 0 or 1.
How'd you get 20 from like 2001?
Is it not 20? Did I do it wrong?
Well, like, oh, never mind. I'm being stupid. I'm being stupid.
Why? Why is it 25?
Well,
What?
it's 20.
What? It's 20, right? Hold on. What happened?
It's 25 for 2006. It's 25.
Is it 25? Did I do it wrong?
No, it's
Oh, yeah,
25
Okay.
2006.
Thank you. I was like, oh my God, what happened? 25. So then this is 26 and 27. Excuse me. All right, so put this into L1. Bless you. So then you want to have the lim reg 0.98. What is the quad reg?
0.97.
0.97? What? Okay, so 0.98 is that's the one that we want to go with then, right? Lin reg? So what is the equation? Y equals, huh? Are there any decimals after 19? 0.004? Okay, then we'll stop at 19. Thank you. Are we okay with this? Ava, did you get this too? Okay. All right, so how'd you get 29? What? So it says estimate the price of stamps in 2010. Well, you're not going to plug in 2010, right? 2010 would be what number
You're
X?
going to plug in 29.
Yeah. So then what would be the price of stamps in 2010? Oh my God, this is actually a really old problem.
42.75.
42,
Yeah.
78. What is it, cents? You mean sure? Didn't it say cents?
Yes, it does.
So then we wouldn't say 42.78 cents. What would we say? 43 cents. All right. So 43 cents for stamps in 2010. I wonder if this is true. Was it?
Stamps?
Yeah. 43
Probably.
cents?